Hey guys, it's Emma and I'm back today for you with another video, and today I want to recommend to y'all probably one of my favorite types of books, alright, and that is revenge books. I don't know what it is, I just love good revenge arcs, and I have quite a few books to recommend y'all today, okay? So, before we actually get started, I would really appreciate it if you guys would look down in the description box for all the links there that I have for you guys pertaining to stuff going on in the world right now, and these links will be down there for you guys to interact with and to share, and then down in the comment section, let me know whether or not you guys like these books, whether you like revenge stories in general, what your favorite movies are with revenge plots, the works. Right? So with that being said, let's just get running into it. Okay, the first book that I want to recommend to people who really enjoy revenge arcs in books is The Bullet Swallower by Elizabeth Gonzalez James. This is a dual timeline story following an ancestor and his descendant. Antonio is a robber, and when he and his brother go on this heist to rob this huge train, his brother is killed, and then Antonio goes on this path of revenge in order to avenge his brother. And then we follow the descendant, Jaime, who suddenly one day gets this very mysterious book that, for whatever reason, speaks about his entire family's history and even some stuff that he himself had no idea about. So it's about Antonio and his path on revenge, but also about Jaime dealing with the stuff that his family has done. Aside from this being a revenge story, alright, it's a Western. I love me a Western, alright? Westerns are probably one of my favorite genres, okay? The Magnificent Seven, 2016, 2017, that's like one of my favorite movies. The Bullet Swallower is a great Western. It's a really good commentary on generational trauma, generational effects, alright, and just revenge in general. How far you've gone down this path of revenge, if there's a way for you to stop, you know what I mean? And I really love this. I loved how it dealt with the dual timeline aspect, alright, because I think we're all aware, anybody that enjoys a good dual timeline every now and then, dual timeline has the unfortunate tendency to kind of go off the rails a little bit, you know, but I think The Bullet Swallower does not. There's even like a little supernatural twist in here. Look, if you like Westerns, alright, and you like revenge arcs, The Bullet Swallower is for you. One of my favorite books of all time, particularly for people who like revenge plots, Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. This is about Ike and Buddy Lee, whose two sons are both in a gay interracial relationship, and one day they are both murdered. And so Ike and Buddy Lee have to team up begrudgingly in order to find out who murdered their sons. It read like an action movie, alright? If y'all ever do make an action movie and you want to take my opinion, don't know why, but if you do, Idris Elba and Ethan Hawke. Thank you.
Now, if you'll both sign down there on the X.
With that being said, okay, this book is just really tragic because this entire time, you know, these two dads are going after these men who have killed their sons, right? Their sons are dead. Their sons are gone. And it's kind of this double-sided coin where the entire time you're like, oh my gosh, yes, go after those people that murdered your children. Get them, remove them from the face of the earth.
Airstrikes, bomb them.
But on the flip side, you ask the question of why did it take your boys dying for you to accept them and for you to love them? Because Buddy Lee and Ike both have their fair share of prejudices, which they both go through as they go through this book, and in fact teaming up with one another. This book is just so tragic, but at the same time really action-packed and really bloody. I cried at the end of this book. I highly recommend this book, alright, especially to people who really like a lot of action. It's a parent going after the justice for their kid, and I love that. Okay, another favorite book of mine, what can I say? And that is Foul is Fair by Hannah Capin. This is about a girl named Jade who, with her three friends, crash a St. Andrew's prep party on Jade's 16th birthday. And at this party, four boys who attend St. Andrew's assault Jade. And the ensuing story is Jade swearing herself to vengeance and going after each and every single one. I believe it's a Macbeth retelling.
You just stop playing. I mean, if they give me one right now, tear it up live.
There's a lot of cunning in here, which I love me a cunning character, alright, where it's like, oh yeah, no, they do this, but really in actuality they mean like three different things. It's so fascinating to read, alright. I loved this book. I loved picking it apart. I loved reading it. I loved being taken along with Jade's story. This is a good for her story in the truest sense of the word, and I honestly just can't recommend this book enough. Okay. This one is going to be very subjective. That is Tallstar's Revenge by Erin Hunter, all right? Look, I read Warrior Cats from, I think, elementary school all the way up until high school. It still has such a huge place in my heart. And Tallstar is literally one of my favorite characters. This is about Tallstar, but when he was an apprentice and as he becomes a warrior. This is when WindClan was more into the tunneling idea, and when tunneling specifically was starting to go out of fashion. I say out of fashion. Cats were dying.
There's people that are dying.
A tragic accident leaves his dad dead, and Tallstar, or Tall Paw at this moment, blames a specific cat, and this desire for revenge that he has essentially rots in him for so long until he's a warrior, and he's like, yeah, no, Heather Star, love you, girl, but I need to go and get this fool. So it's all about Tallstar and his all-consuming revenge. I'm just gonna have to gush about this book, okay? Like, at the very end, I cried. Tallstar for me is so special. All right, he was always so fair, so wise, so respectful, and he's kind of just like the granddad of like the original series. He is so dramatically different in this book than when we originally meet him, all right? And that's what I really, really love about this book. We watch him literally grow. This is probably a very, very niche addition to this list. However, it literally has revenge in the title. All right, I don't know what y'all wanted me to do, first of all, and then second of all, I just love this book. Can't help it. Next, I would like to recommend to possibly maybe the weirder bunch. All right, it's me. I'm part of the weirder bunch. The Harpy by Megan Hunter. This is about a woman who discovers that her husband is cheating on her. And so when she confronts him about it and is like, dude,
Explain this to me.
you know, we got to talk about this. And he's like, okay, well, here, how about this? They both come to a compromise where in return for him hurting her by his cheating, she gets to hurt him 3 separate times. And all the while, she can't really decide whether or not she's actually turning into a harpy. First of all, this book is very short. All right. Second of all, this book is magical realism, which I don't tend to frequent that genre, just in general. I find it kind of hard for me to understand, but this book in particular, I feel like used that weird, almost, is this happening or is it all in her head type thing really, really well. And just, this book is weird, but at the same time is just so deeply profound. All right. I love this book. This book is so good. It's kind of dark and it's just mind-boggling. This next book is, oh my goodness, it's probably one of the first books that I read when I was first getting into booktube, and that is Long Way Down by Jason Reynolds. Long Way Down is about a boy named Will whose older brother is murdered, and his brother's murderer is living in the same building as him. And so he takes his brother's gun, puts it in the back of his waist pants, and goes to the elevator, and he's on the 7th floor. And he is pretty much set on this idea, yeah, no snitching, I can't get any help on this, I need to be the one to set things right, and which essentially means I need to kill this dude. And so he's on the 7th floor, and as each floor goes down, a ghost from his past steps on the elevator to essentially tell him, are you sure you want to do this? I would say it's a more, for lack of a better word, philosophical revenge story where the revenge is mostly thought about whether or not to actually do this, whether or not to actually go down this path, and what this path could mean for you, and whether this path actually stops. When I put it down, I kind of just had to sit there for a moment. All right, as a younger sibling, this book hits hard. All right, it's a very short book, but a gut punch of a book at the same time. And I just really, really enjoyed how it took the more subtle aspects of the beginning of revenge and just did it so well. This is probably one of my favorite horror books ever, all right? I would like to recommend to readers who really enjoy a good revenge plot, The Only Good Indians by Stephen Graham Jones. I love recommending this book. This is about 4 Native American men who, in their youth, experienced a really disturbing event that is now coming back to haunt them in the form of an entity bent on retribution, and all of their culture and traditions that they had been trying to repress and run from catch up to them in a very violent way. This is a very creeping horror, I would say. It's not in your face. There's no jump scares, at least I would say. It makes me think of the same tone as It Follows. It's not really like a huge, like, big scares type of thing. It's a creeping thing. You know this thing is coming after you. It's just, how are you gonna stop it if you even can? But also, if you can't stop it, what can you do to at least evade it just a little bit longer? I adore this book. It is a really, really good horror book. This was my first Stephen Graham Jones book that I tried, and just wow, okay? This book was addicting to read, and I honestly can't stop recommending it.
This is art, Mr. White.
It's very brutal, but at the same time, very heartbreaking. Lastly, if you like revenge in books, all right, if you love a character going on a little revenge streak in books, I highly recommend that you pick up The Eyes Are the Best Part by Monika Kim. This is about Ji-won, whose dad's affair comes to light, and he leaves them in order to go be with his little mistress.
Shame!
Her mom is devastated, her sister's confused, and her college grades are failing. And her dreams are horrifying yet fascinating, because her dreams consist mostly of eyeballs, and these eyeballs are the same shape and shade as George, aka her mother's new boyfriend, who is essentially a white dude with an Asian fetish. And as her dreams get more and more vivid and more consistent, Ji-won starts to spiral a little bit. This book, I would say, is kind of a more underlying revenge story, all right? This is just about a girl who's kind of being like, why am I dreaming about eating eyes? And why do I kind of want to swallow an eyeball? Just like The Only Good Indians, this is another one of my favorite horror books. I flew through this book. I think I read this book in maybe 2 days, if that, all right? I love the main character, Ji-won. She's flawed, all right? She lies, she cheats, she manipulates. I love her. I loved reading about her so much because at the same time, she's like, why? I'm a compulsive liar. I'm a compulsive manipulator. I'm a compulsive cheater. And why do I do this? Why do I do? I don't want to do this. I loved reading about her. She was fascinating to read about. This book was so good. It was just gross. It was just gross. So you guys, these are all of the books that I have to recommend to y'all that have revenge arcs. All right, I hope that you've enjoyed. Now, even if you don't like revenge arcs, which I get it, everybody has their own taste, but even outside of the revenge plots in these books, I still think all of these books are amazing. All right, they're all great in their own right, and just some of them really pack a punch and surprise you. Okay, so you guys, with that being said, I hope you've enjoyed. I hope you continue to look out for more stuff on my channel. I hope you guys are staying safe, and lastly, I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day. Goodbye.